So in some breaking news today, we learned that the FBI is, in fact, investigating the possible complicity of members of Congress in the insurrection, in the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So as you can probably tell, I am neither in my studio nor in my home in Northern Virginia. I am allegedly on vacation in Morristown, Tennessee, here on Lake Cherokee, and I'm on a floating dock, so you may see me bobbing and weaving, and no, that's not because I had too much Pabst Blue Ribbon to drink. But you know, there was some reporting that broke this evening that is too important not to talk about. So I want to knock out a quick video. I talked earlier this evening with my friend, NBC News 4 reporter Scott MacFarlane, and he broke some news, first on the Readout with Joy Reid, and then on the Chris Hayes show, All In with Chris Hayes, which was being covered tonight by my friend Zerlina Maxwell, and I hope to be on Monday with Zerlina to talk about this on her show on Peacock TV. But this is actually really important, really consequential, so stick with me for just a few minutes here as I bob and weave on this floating dock. So Scott MacFarlane tweeted out something that he broke this evening about some FBI interviews with one of the insurrectionists. And I don't want to bury the lead, because here's what it proves. It proves that the FBI, the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, they are all investigating the possible complicity in the insurrection of members of Congress. And folks, this is good news. It's important news. It's news that tells us that the hope of justice is alive, that the hope and the promise of accountability for criminal politicians for what was done to our nation, to our democracy on January 6th is still alive. Here's the tweet that Scott MacFarlane sent out earlier today. He said, "I've got a copy of FBI interview of Tom Webster." Now, Tom Webster is an insurrectionist, a defendant, and he is a retired New York police officer charged with beating a DC cop on January 6th. Webster is asked if he belongs to far-right groups or if he knows any members of Congress. And he answers, no. They ask multiple times about far-right groups. Now here's why this is important, folks. The FBI is interrogating insurrectionists about whether they know, whether they've communicated with members of Congress. Why is that important? Well, first of all, in interrogations, generally we don't ask questions we don't already know the answer to. So the FBI probably already has insurrectionist Weber's cell phone communications. So they already know whether Webster was communicating with members of Congress before, during, or after the insurrection. So what does this particular piece of reporting, that the FBI is interrogating insurrectionists about their relationships with members of Congress, what does it tell us? Well, it tells us two things. One, it tells us that the FBI, the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, is in fact, investigating the potential complicity of members of Congress in the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. And that is some very good news. The other thing it tells us is when the FBI is interrogating these insurrectionists, assuming they already have the cell phone communications, perhaps even the email traffic of these insurrectionists, when they lie, if they lie, and they say, I don't know any members of Congress, I didn't talk on my cell phone with, I don't know, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, or others, I didn't email those members of Congress. If the FBI has hard evidence, cell phone records, email communications, that proves the insurrectionists are lying about that, well, guess what? That's another criminal charge, lying to the FBI, and it's further evidence that implicates members of Congress if these insurrectionists are lying about it. Folks, take it from this old 30-year prosecutor. This is good news that we now know concretely that the FBI is investigating possible complicity of members of Congress. This moves us in the direction of justice. And justice matters. Folks, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I'm going to go back to vacationing, but I look forward to talking with y'all again tomorrow.